Hello there, guys. How's it going? Welcome to Breakfast All Day. Good to see you. I'm Christy. That is Alonso. Next up for us is King Richard, which is in theaters, but also streaming right now on HBO Max. It is about Venus and Serena Williams, only kinda.
Yeah, you don't want to see a movie about the two greatest tennis players in the world. You want to see a movie about their dad. So yeah, this is a biopic of Richard Williams, who, against all odds, and against butting up against a sport that is rooted in rich people playing at country clubs and having unlimited resources, made two of his many daughters into the greatest tennis players alive. So yeah, it's Will Smith, it's Aunjanue Ellis as his wife, and several actresses playing the sisters as they get older. Also, we get popping up as various coaches along the way, Jon Bernthal and Tony Goldwyn. But this is basically Will Smith's show, and he's definitely got some for your consideration moments. But it's an interesting portrait of somebody who had to fight back against a system that was not, inclined to make room for his daughters, no matter how talented they are. And about how he basically sort of squeaky wheeled his way into, getting them coaches, getting them sponsors, making them tennis phenomena, but at the same time, always keeping an eye out for them as individuals, making sure they got educated, making sure they weren't going to crack from the pressure, that they could lead full lives and also be extraordinary athletes. My dad really wanted me to be a doctor, so
he didn't have you out there in the rain practicing surgery.
He did not. But here's the thing: I had three of my brothers and one of my sisters did become doctors, so obviously it worked for somebody, just not me. This is. I have a lot of thoughts here.
Yeah, please.
I think it takes the charisma of Will Smith, I think, to play a character who, and the movie acknowledges this, if you were not one of his children who is sort of benefiting from, his intensity, and I think sometimes even if you are one of his children, this guy is probably a handful to be around. This guy is very driven and wants to get the thing happening, and he is not afraid to ruffle feathers, and he is not afraid to and there, obviously it worked, so he's got that on his side. I kept thinking about movies where it's a mom doing this, and I think we're more often ready to sort of pathologize that kind of thing, it's a stage mother and she's just trying to have her kids reach the success she never did, like I, Tanya or Gypsy.
Gypsy, I was gonna say,
yeah. But I think that it's an interesting portrait of, tough love is putting too fine a point on it, because again, he is so devoted and dedicated to all of his children, but at the same time, he does ruffle a lot of feathers along the way. There's a great, Aunjanue Ellis gets a great scene where she kind of calls him out and to sort of be like, you know what, you didn't do this alone. I've been here with you. I put up with a lot of stuff that other women wouldn't have. There are occasional references to the fact that that they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and that the wife is sort of expected to be, a helpmate, but also, sort of answer to the husband. But she is a very, in that scene, you see that she's nobody's pushover, and that whatever decision she's made for herself. And Will Smith gives a really good performance. I just think there are moments in the film where you can tell, Oscar clip, but overall, I think it works. It is a good sports movie. It's very much an underdog movie. What did you think?
It's a very conventional sports movie in a lot of ways, leading up to the big championship.
Absolutely.
Where Venus has to play Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. And, and again, all this happened. And as we see from the title cards at the end, he was right? The whole game plan from before they were even born, it all played out the way he said it was going to. And he was right. So no matter what prickliness they depict in him, no matter how megalomaniacal and off-putting and just how steamrolling he is, to everyone in his path, like the movie is still very much on his side.
Well, sure.
This is not like a great Santini depiction of him making them play out in the rain, you know?
Well, exactly. We know in hindsight, well, it worked. He was right, you know, and the thing is, like, if it hadn't have worked, you know, would we still think of this guy as the genius and the sort of, you know, kind of great driver that the movie portrays him as? I mean, I know that's a weird hypothetical, but I kept thinking about that.
I also really want to know what these young ladies think. You know, as young women whose entire lives have been dictated for them, how do they feel about that? I mean, Venus and Serena are executive producers on this film. And at the end of it, you have all the obligatory biopic real life footage.
Here's what they looked like. Yeah.
Right. And so you get like how detailed, you know, the hair and the clothes and the locations and all that stuff was. Like they went to pains to get all the stuff right, you know, but all along the way, I thought to myself, like, how do these young women in this moment of their lives feel? And yes, like winning feels good, but if they've been given a choice, what would they have chosen for themselves? Because they never had a choice. They both happen to be tall and ferocious and gifted competitors. But like if they had from day one the opportunity to carve their own path, what might it have been? Like, would they have been veterinarians? Or, you know, Serena very famously has her a very distinctive and like bold fashion sense. Like, would she have been a fashion designer? Also, the fact that he put Venus out there first and pushed her harder, but like Serena was always lurking in the back and he always knew she'd be like the GOAT. You know, how do they feel about that dynamic? About the fact that he's pitting them against each other. They are nothing but celebratory and supportive of one another in the film in this limited stretch of their lives. It covers up to when Venus is 14 and Serena is 13.
I think 15 at the end.
Is she 15 by then? Okay.
I think, yeah.
I think she's like 14 because when she plays her first professional match.
The last card says she was 15. So
when she signed her deal with Reebok.
Oh, that's true.
When she signed her 9 months later, she signed a $12 million deal with Reebok.
Yes, you're right.
So it is a bit like, you know, there's a lot of questions that I wonder when they get to tell their own story. At what point do they get to have their King Richard, their version of this?
Yeah, I mean, there is the documentary about them that is quite good. If you haven't seen Venus and Serena, I recommend it. But yeah, I mean, I sure when I first heard about this movie, I'm like, really? It's about the dad, you know. But I see the draw of it. What's going to be, and neither of these things are the film's fault. But I'm very curious about how it's going to be received in certain circles where, you know, it's going to be that hillbilly elegy thing of conservative commentators saying, well, see, you can, I don't want to hear excuses about poverty. You could make this happen. And like, why isn't everybody doing this with their children? It's like,
bootstraps.
Exactly. Bullshit bootstraps thing. And it's like, let's, could we not, you know, but that's just me sort of catastrophizing and projecting, you know, when a movie like this comes out. No, I think there's a lot that works here. I think the performances are strong.
I enjoyed Jon Bernthal very much. It's a very showy. When does he get to be fun ever? When does he get to be light and boisterous ever? So that's kind of fun to see from him. Both of the young actresses in this, Saniyya, Sidney, and Demi Singleton as Venus and Serena are both very good because they've got to carve out personalities for themselves in a film where Will Smith is larger than life and totally dominant. Aunjanue Ellis is your MVP here. And she was so great in Lovecraft Country. She's so good. And it's so exciting to see her getting these meaty, juicy roles. Because she's so stealth there. And she's like the quiet support. And you're right. That one scene in the kitchen is just a killer.
Yeah. Dave was kind of walking into the room and I was watching. It's like, do we appreciate Aunjanue Ellis enough to like does everybody know how awesome she is because she's so great? So I hope this, you know, it does something for her. Like if there's going to be awards conversation about this movie, I hope that she is part of that conversation. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a sports person, and yet I know who the Williams sisters are. So obviously they are like massive phenomena in the world in the culture in general. And I feel like I know somewhat more about them now that I've seen this, but yeah, I agree with you that I would be more interested to hear their POV about this stuff. And I'm sure one day we will.
Yeah. And not a polite POV, because so
Sure.
much of what this is drilled into their heads from day one is like, be humble, be polite. I want them to not be polite. I would like the truth and like the heartache and the struggles and the pain. And how do you really feel about being, global icons, global role models? How does all that feel for you? How is the pressure of all that for you? So I hope that they get to tell the truth. It's not just uplifting.
Did they have friends outside of their immediate family? How did they feel about being uprooted from LA to Florida to go to camp? Like, you don't get much of their internal lives at all. It's really about the parents.
Yeah. But, Will Smith can take a character like that who is innately unlikable and just through the sheer will of his charisma, make you want to watch and see what he's going to do next and not just turn off the TV. It's a 2-hour and 25-minute long movie, and so it's a testament to him, of course, being, the superstar he is, and yet being able to find the subtlety in it and not just, in someone else's hands, we might just find him obnoxious.
Yes.
But, he's good. He's Will Smith. He's good.
You keep watching because it's Will Smith making it watchable. So for sure.
Anyway, so I'm saying 6.8.
I had also, before we even talked about, said 6.8. So we're a 6.8 here. Yes. And as you said, the film is in theaters today and will be on HBO Max for the next, 30 days, 31 days, however that window works. So this is, I'm sure that Warner Brothers is going to be doing a massive Oscar campaign for Smith and for the movie and for other stuff. So, check it out.
Did we say the name Reinaldo Marcus Green?
We did not. Thank you for bringing that up.
He's the director.
Yes, he is.
He did also a movie called Monsters and Men several years ago, which was kind of like an indie awards contender, which was gritty, which was like dark and intimate and gritty. And I think he tries to bring some of that kind of style to what is inherently an uplifting story here.
And I do also want to shout out the cinematographer, the great Robert Elswit.
The great Robert Elswit.
Who gives this movie kind of a sort of a twilight lighting, not the movie, the phenomenon, and really he's not giving you like Compton or Los Angeles in general sort of lighting the way you would expect it, and so it does give it a kind of a gauzy memory feel, even though these are events that happened in the 90s. All right, cool. Well, listen, thanks everybody for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to our Patreon group. You get videos like this with no commercial interruption. You get our TV recaps. We're polishing off season 2 of The Morning Show and digging into season 2 of The Great. And of course, our monthly Off the Menu, where our subscribers get to choose a classic film for us to talk about, and lots of other great stuff. So patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.